Hey and welcome back to The Revolution and some brand new WWE 2K22 news, as earlier today 2K dropped a bunch of new 2K22 information as well as a brand new trailer before that all important big info drop coming January of next year. To be sure you don't miss out on any of our upcoming WWE 2K22 content, be sure to hit that bell icon and subscribe to the channel. You can also head on over to our official website revolution.com where you'll find a breakdown of all of today's news and more. Before we get into things, let's take a look at the brand new trailer. I have to say, I think this is easily my favourite 2K22 trailer so far, with the exciting official confirmation that GM Mod is indeed returning to the series, as well as that seemingly rebrand of My Career Mod under the MyRise title and a brand new feature by the name of MyFaction. The trailer starts out with another look at Rey Mysterio's entrance and character model in a similar fashion to what we've already seen before, as well as a brief look at Ricochet's entrance from behind. Whilst it may not be anything new or groundbreaking to what we've already seen, you can't deny how great Rey Mysterio's model looks. Ideally, we just really need to see more of him in ring action or additional superstars to throw in the mix. We then get our very first look at Goldberg, who I have to say personally think looks absolutely amazing. From the skin to the sweat and the chest hair, Goldberg arguably looks the best he's ever done, and it definitely gets me hyped to see what the female superstars will look like in the coming months. I hate to use the phrase, but the particle effects from the pyro really do hit different this time around, and thanks to the new particle system it implemented, smoke, lasers and pyro look to have a complete overhaul. The trailer then teases its new redesigned gameplay engine with a quick look at a match between Jeff Hardy and Kofi Kingston, with Kofi hitting a bunch of strikes before delivering a running bulldog to Jeff. The segment also confirms the return of the match reward star system, which at first glance looks to be in the same vein as previous incarnations. I personally aren't a huge fan of the star system, but I do agree that it gives players something to work towards, especially if it means fans have the ability to unlock superstars, parts, arenas and so on. We then switch over to this year's new control system with a quick look at the button layout with Big E and Montez Ford facing off in the background. On the face of it, there are some similarities between 2K22 and 2K20 controls, with the biggest difference being that the right trigger is now used in conjunction with the face buttons to perform submissions, signatures, finishes and paybacks. The clip also sneakily shows off the new dodge mechanism, with Big E ducking to avoid an incoming strike from Montez Ford. Big E seemingly follows up with a block animation, which is backed up when looking at the new control system, which provides blocks, dodges and reversals. In WWE 2K22, players will now reverse moves by pressing the Y button, with the ability to block moves when holding Y. I will say that on the surface, I personally prefer the change from 2K20's finisher controls, but there are still some definite red flags in there, especially for players with disabilities, so he is hoping there's some accessibility options come the game's release. The clip also provides a better look at this year's commentary team, with Michael Cole, Byron Saxon and Corey Graves returning to the series, with Graves receiving the most noticeable update of the trio. With the focus then switching to the graphics, we get another look at Edge making his way to the ring, looking absolutely phenomenal in what looks to be one of the brand new WWE arenas as seen on current WWE programming. Next up is another look at the former SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley with a brand new entrance animation as well as brand new heel Titantrons. Whilst Bayley's attire, trons and hairstyle look pretty damn good, something to me looks really off and I can't quite put my finger on what exactly that something is. At first, I did think it was that Bayley didn't have much animation in her face, but on the second and third glance, that isn't the case, so I'm not quite sure what it could be. Now, maybe it's just me, but feel free to let me know in the comments below if you can figure out what it might be that I'm seeing or not seeing, or if I'm just seeing things. Following on, we get some more gameplay action as part of 2K's immersive presentation, with Bobby Lashley performing his Dominator finish on Chad Gable, who has undergone a complete change since his last appearance in the series and is now sporting his short hair and red singlet. Whilst the HUD looks somewhat similar to previous incarnations in the series, it does look much cleaner this time around, with Superstar's health, finisher and momentum all on display. It also looks like 2K have opted for a camera change to WWE 2K22, where the camera seemingly zoomed in closer to capture all of the in-ring action. Up next is what looks to be the official confirmation of a Rey Mysterio showcase in 2K22, with Rey documenting his rise to stardom in WWE under the new 2K Showcase moniker. Given the amount of content featuring Rey Mysterio this time around, I think this one comes as no real surprise, with many of us predicting not only a showcase for Rey, but also a possible cover star spot. If none of the previous information was enough to get you excited, then maybe this will, as 2K unveiled the return of GM mode, now under the rebrand of MyGM. GM mode was last featured in SmackDown vs Raw 2008, with many fans begging for its return ever since. Whilst we don't get to see too much of this mod in action, we do get a quick look at the menu system, with Roman Reigns drafted to Friday Night SmackDown as part of the initial MyGM roster draft picks. In an interesting move, it looks like 2K have reverted to using real-life renders for superstars in WWE 2K22 in a move that some fans have been calling for, with other fans much preferring the in-game renders as seen in previous years. Whilst I do personally prefer the real-life renders, it does look somewhat odd when it comes to using custom superstars alongside in-game superstars, as the quality never quite matches up. The red and green wrestling mask icons in the menu indicate which superstars on the roster are heels or faces, with both Becky Lynch and Asuka officially confirmed for the game, acting as baby faces. Fighting classes will also play a role in the game, with Asuka assigned as a fighter and Becky Lynch assigned the class of a specialist. The menu's also officially confirmed Tamina and Bianca Belair for next year's game, thanks to a quick look at the match card booking system, which seems to allow 3 matches in total, as well as 2 promo spots. It looks as though normal type matches in MyGM will incur no cost to your budget, while special match types such as TLC will set you back at $5,000 a piece, with promos on the other hand costing $1,000. It looks as though players will also be able to set up custom match rules for matchups, including participants, interference, match types and more. Like in previous GM mods, fans will also have the option to simulate matches to determine a winner, or should they choose, they can also speculate or even play the match for themselves. Moving on from MyGM, we have the reveal of MyFaction in a brand new mod that will see players assemble their very own faction in WWE, with the chance to collect, manage and upgrade superstars in weekly events. Whilst the trailer doesn't showcase how the mod itself will play out, we do get a look at Dominic Mysterio's debut in the series alongside Rey Mysterio, Dolph Ziggler and Kevin Owens in what looks to be a victory scene. For his first time in the series, Dominic looks just as good as his father, if not better, and I can't wait to get a better look at Dominic in the coming months. Sticking with the My theming, we have another My in the form of MyRise, which is the brand new branding for the My Career mode going forward in the series, with the name representing the rise to the top of your very own custom superstar in WWE. We get a quick look at several superstars brawling atop of a steel structure in what looks to be an updated backstage area, something that I personally have been craving for quite some time now. Whilst there's nothing majorly wrong visually with the backstage area we currently have, I can't help but feel like once you've played it a bunch of times, then there's no real reason to revisit it, as it often feels like dead space. If attires are anything to go by, it looks as though the scene depicts Seth Rollins with former groupies Buddy Murphy and Austin Theory taking on a custom superstar with the aid of Mustafa Ali. If this is indeed correct, it looks like this officially confirms Buddy Murphy for WWE 2K22 in quite a surprising move following his release back in June alongside Braun Strowman, Lana, Aleister Black, Ruby Riott and Santana Garrett. With Murphy's inclusion in the game, could this mean we get to see the likes of Lana, Santana and Ruby in next year's game? I would argue that Santana and Ruby are the least likely of the trio thanks to their ongoing work with AEW, but who knows, maybe Lana could sneak her way into the game having not yet officially signed with any promotion. June would also see the release of Marina Shafir with Mercedes Martinez, B-Fab, Ember Moon, Eve Marie, Frankie Monet, Jessie Kamea, Katrina Cortez, Mia Yim, Nia Jax, Scarlett Bordeaux and Zayda Ramir released shortly after in August and November. If I had to hazard a guess, I would assume that the likes of Ember Moon, Eva Marie, Mia Yim and Nia Jax are the most likely to be included, with Scarlett possibly entering the mix as a manager to Karrion Kross. Obviously take this all with a huge grain of salt as there are still several months to go until release and anything could change in the meantime. Moving on, we finally get some more women's footage with a look at the women's path in MyRise, with the cutscene showing a vicious beatdown at the hands of Shayna Baszler and the debuting Kaylee Ray and Raquel Gonzalez. Hopefully the inclusion of the former NXT UK Women's Champion Kaylee Ray signifies the inclusion of more NXT UK talent, as I for one would love to see the likes of Ginny, Asla Dawn and the rest of the NXT UK Women's division in next year's game. Up next we have a very brief look at Universe Mode, with fans now seemingly having the ability to follow the path of one specific superstar as opposed to controlling an entire brand in previous years. Following on from the very brief look at Universe Mode, we also get a very brief look at this year's Creation Suite, which looks to show footage of the MyPlay creation as part of the MyRise experience. Of course, I could be totally wrong and all custom superstars now have to take this path going forward. The clip also provides examples of cruiserweight, heavyweight and super heavyweight body types, with the super heavyweight superstars getting a much needed realistic approach. As well as body types, players will also assign a class option to their superstar, with striker, technician, powerhouse and high flyer being amongst the possibilities. It's also worth noting that there is the added option of community creations in the bottom navigation bar, which could imply the use of custom superstars for MyRise if this is indeed the situation. I will say that I really love the addition of the backstage area whilst customising a superstar, as it makes the experience look more realistic and immersive overall. As in previous trailers, the trailer begins to round out with some more footage of both Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre, with Drew seemingly entering the pre-NXT 2.0 arena, which could hint at its inclusion in the game. On one final note, the trailer goes out with a huge bang thanks to another look at Goldberg's amazing character model and entrance, with pyro and particles looking absolutely stunning. Now, I don't know about you, but I feel like I totally need to lay down after all of that, and I have to say for me personally, 2K totally hit the ball out of the park with this trailer, and I only wish the 2K22 previous trailers had this much information and energy. I think we can all agree that the majority of us, whilst understanding, were completely bummed out that there would be no new game this year, but after today's news, I feel like I can hold on for just that little bit longer, and if anything, I feel the most hyped I have for this game so far. Now, sure, there are some minor red flags here and there, and I wish we could have seen more of the women in the trailer, but there's so many promising features such as MyGM, MyFaction, and the possibility of some new and returning female superstars. So before I yap on anymore, I want to know what you make of all of today's news and what you are most looking forward to. Also, be sure to let me know if there's anything you think I might have overlooked or anything you would like to see introduced to what they haven't shown off already. So before we head off into Survivor Series weekend, be sure to hit that bell icon and subscribe to the channel. Speaking of Survivor Series, you can also head over to our official website revolution.com, where you'll find all of today's news as well as upcoming Survivor Series previews, predictions and more. Until next time, I've been The Revolution and I can't bloody wait until January.